Wanted, Experience and Wisdom, read by Barbara Mezeske, resident of Park Township. Looks like we'll have 2 senior citizens running for president in 24. Oh dear. Political pundits are wringing their hands. Are both men too old? Are Trump's 91 felony charges more or less important than his age? Is Biden's record enough to outweigh his years? Age ain't nothing but a number, sang hip-hop artist Aliyah back in 1994. The phrase is embedded in our public consciousness. Google it, and you'll find inspirational messages. Don't let age define you. Your accomplishments matter more than your years. Always set new goals. Think of Betty White, or Jimmy Carter, or Mick Jagger. They didn't let age slow them down. Most of those inspirational messages distill to this: age leads to wisdom and experience. Wisdom and experience are what the country and Ottawa County need in the next election. Consider what Joe Biden brings to the table in terms of experience. 50 years of work in state and national politics. 50 years of working on legislation, collaborating with colleagues from both parties, negotiating compromises, observing and participating in the process of budgeting, conducting foreign policy, and addressing domestic issues. Consider what has been accomplished in Biden's administration. Investment in infrastructure, lower drug prices, funding for clean energy and health care, low unemployment, and modest gun reform. The Biden administration, love it or not, has been driven by policy goals. There certainly have been failures and omissions, but the record of accomplishment is significant. Now let's look at Ottawa County, where it isn't the chronological age of our county commissioners that we worry about. It's wisdom and experience. The 8 Ottawa Impact commissioners elected in 2022 were new to public office. They appointed a new county administrator, John Gibbs, and hired a new law firm. Neither Gibbs nor the Coleman Group had experience with county government. Ottawa Impact commissioners then proceeded to disregard the standard processes of governing, and their actions showcased their inexperience. First, their hiring practices were not open to public view. They hired Gibbs and their new legal counsel without posting the job openings first. They tried to hire a new health officer in the same way. Gibbs' 23-year-old assistant, Jordan Epperson, only met 1 of 5 published criteria for the position. Second, they treat agendas which are posted to the public as moving targets. At their very first meeting in January, they added the elimination of the County Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office to the agenda during the meeting and promptly voted it out of existence. To this day, agendas are tweaked right up to meeting time. Ottawa Impact commissioners follow a management model that generates action from the top, not in consultation with county employees or with a range of citizens. They want to create a county Veterans Affairs department, complete with a new administrator. Yet they don't seem clear about which veterans services and benefits are federal and therefore delivered in regional centers in Kent and Muskegon counties, and which are delivered by the county. They also operate as though they have more powers than those granted to them. Witness their recent reluctance to sign off on new early voting locations for the county, because they wanted to choose the locations themselves rather than leave that decisions to election officials. Nowhere is inexperience more evident than with the bungled county budget process. The fact that the numbers keep changing is evidence of a deeply flawed process. Ordinary budgets begin at the bottom with an assessment of needs and programs. Budgeting takes time, not the 2 days given to the health department to make 30 to 50% cuts. Budgeting is collaborative. Excluding the non-Ottawa Impact commissioners from budget talks disenfranchises voters in those districts. The lack of a complete budget spreadsheet at the meeting where it was approved is irresponsible. Like agendas, the budget became a moving target. Do we lose 1 epidemiologist or 2? Do food programs for the poor stay at the current level or drop? Why are we leaving grant money on the table? What is the proper use of the county contingency fund? The messiness of the process underscores that none of these people, including Gibbs, has experience managing public money. Most of all, the current county board lacks wisdom, perhaps because of their inexperience. Refusing to engage with local media and the League of Women Voters and ignoring constituent email is not wise if you want to stay in office. It alienates people and defeats the goal of transparency. Arrogant behavior is not wise either. Posting on social media that one's opponents have, quote, Ottawa derangement disorder, aka ODD, oddness, is caused by exposure to freedom, the Constitution, logic, or those with opposing viewpoints, end quote, is childish. Dismissing or ignoring criticism from the people you represent isn't strength. It's dereliction of duty. And finally, burning through county funds for severance packages, new hires, new positions, and legal fees should cause every voter, regardless of party affiliation, to question our commissioners' ability to do their jobs. When it comes to choosing leaders, character and ideology count, but wisdom and experience should count too.
Since January of 2023, the Ottawa Impact Commissioners have made a number of polarizing decisions affecting the community, many of which you have mentioned. What specific decision most compelled you to begin speaking out publicly?
That's an easy question. The very first thing they did on that very first meeting, which blew up the existing county structure, was a huge red flag to anybody living in the county. Day one, fire the county administrator, hire new legal counsel, eliminate DEI, all of which was clearly planned ahead of time because they had replacements for the previous administrator lined up. They had a replacement for the previous legal firm lined up. And they had clearly colluded ahead of time to eliminate DEI. That was, everything that follows from that is in that same pattern. Decision-making outside of the regular processes, bringing to meetings decisions that have already been agreed upon by that OI, that Ottawa Impact majority.
After nearly a year of leadership from Ottawa Impact Commissioners, what one change do you want to see in 2024?
Well, that's difficult because there are many changes, but I think one change would be, I'm trying to make my mind up here, I think a greater public evidence of collaboration amongst all 11 commissioners. I think the very notion that at least 3 of the commissioners are almost routinely excluded from deliberations, sometimes cut off when they make comments, sometimes not allowed to make comments. I think that's just reprehensible. I could name other things, but I think that is one I would like to see. It is also one I don't expect to see because I see no evidence that there is a softening in their position toward the portions of the county they don't represent directly and towards the portion of the commission that isn't on their team.
What advice would you give to others about how to voice their opinion or get involved in the local political process?
Well, I've been giving the advice for quite a while that people who have strong opinions, and particularly people who are directly affected by any of the decisions that are made, I think those people should speak up. And I think they should do so in public forums. I've advised a lot of people to write sentinel letters, and I know at least 3 people who took that advice. I think beyond that, I think that there has been this upwelling of organized grassroots resistance to Ottawa Impact, and to what is happening in our county commission. And I think there's so many places that you can tap into that. There is I believe it's done now, but the petition to recall Lucy Ebels, who is one of the Ottawa Impact commissioners. There is the Facebook group Ottawa Opposes. There is the church-based group called the Unifying Coalition. There is your group, Vote for the Common Good. There's the League of Women Voters. There are, which is an old, previously existing political action base. I think tapping into any of those is a good thing.